それではご登壇いただきます牧島先生、武井先生、深田様、そしてランダム様です。よろしくお願いいたします。
本日のモデレーター担当いたします国際政治学者深田匠と申します。どうぞよろしくお願い申し上げます。
Hello everyone! モデレーターアシスタントを務めさせていただきますランダムヨーコです。よろしくお願い申し上げます。
それでは改めまして、ACU のマット・シャープ議長、そしてミック・マルベニー行政管理予算局長をお迎えしたいと思います。ヨーコさん、ご紹介お願いいたします。
はい、アメリカ側からとのことで ACU 議長マット・シュラップさんお迎えしたいと思います。カンザス州の出身でジョージ・ W. ブッシュ大統領のブレーンとして、大統領補佐官代理や政務局長を務められました。ではマット・シュラップさんご登壇お願いいたします。盛大な拍手で皆さんお迎えください。続きまして米国行政管理予算局ミック・マルバニー局長でございます。現在トランプ大統領の意思を具現化するブレーンとして大統領予算案を編成し、政府歳出の削減を推進する主要閣僚のお一人でいらっしゃいます。国防総省、国務省、財務省、他すべての省庁を監督する機関の上級閣僚としてアメリカ各省庁の予算を査定し続けていらっしゃいます。ではミック・マルバニー局長ご登壇お願いいたします。盛大な拍手でお迎えください。ご登場いただきましたが、ディスカッションの前に実はマット・シュラップ議長からお知らせがエキサイティングなニュースがあるとのことを伺っております。よろしくお願いします。
I just wanted to say a special thank you to several important people who came from America. I know you got to hear from Dan Schneider, who's the executive director of ACU, and we have other really important people who are on our board of directors. And you understand how important those folks are. So Ron Christie is here, who you heard from yesterday. Gordon Chang and his wonderfully talented wife Lydia are here, and you've heard from them last night. You'll hear from them again. Ed Boyd talked to you about cryptocurrency, and Ed works with us on so many important issues. And we are so appreciative of them all coming. But in the front row here, we have Alan Gottlieb and his wife Julie. Alan, would you stand up? And if Dan Schneider's here, please give them all a round of applause for all the great work they do.
ご登壇の皆様、本日はよろしくお願いいたします。早速テーマに基づきまして、牧島議員、武井議員から質疑をお願いしたいと思います。では最初のテーマ、ヨコさんお願いいたします。
はい。いきなり英語ですが、Our first topic is free trade and protective trade. The mainstream media often reports that Trump administration's America First policy is protectionist, and the administration is disturbing the rules of international trade. And oddly enough, the Chinese government is insisting that they are following those international trade rules. I know what you are all thinking right now. So do they mean that what the US is doing is protective trade and what China is doing is free trade? I'm afraid that's what they're insisting, which I personally find very, very far from the truth. So what does genuinely fair trade look like? And how is the battle over the hegemony in the world looking? These are very important aspects to consider. There are lots of questions that arise with the narrative that the mainstream media uses. Don't you guys think so? I hope you are all with me on this. So let's have vigorous discussion on this. Now let me speak in Japanese. ということで、突然日本語ですが、国際貿易はどのようになっていくのかという観点で、日本側から先生方、国際貿易それぞれのお立場で構いませんので、現在のお考えや問題提起、それからミック・マルバニー局長やマット・シュラップ議長へのご質問としていただければと思います。よろしくお願いいたします。
では最初に牧島先生から質問ないし問題提起お願いいたします。
ありがとうございます。貴重な機会をいただきました。
すでにこれまでもお話が出ている通り、中国どうなっていくのか、米中関係どうなっていくのかというのは、今日フロアにお越しの日本人が大変関心を持っていることだと思います。ペンス副大統領のスピーチの中にも、自由で公正で互恵的な貿易政策を中国には求めたいというスピーチがありました。と同時に、中国に苦しんでもらいたいわけではない、中国は中国で反映してもらう必要もあるんだというコメントもありました。そのあたりの深い意味について教えていただきたいと思います。
では、マルベル教授お願いいたします。
Thank you. Thank you. You've asked several questions. Let me answer the first one first, which is what is going to happen with the relationship between China and the United States? And I think there's a simple answer to that, which is that it's going to change. Many folks in my government, in both parties, by the way, both Republicans and Democrats, think that Chinese have been taking advantage of their position vis-a-vis the United States, vis-a-vis the rest of the world, since they entered the WTO in the early 2000s. I think we saw the Vice President yesterday was speaking in Papua New Guinea, I believe, talking about taking a fairly hard line that China needs to change its behavior. We can talk later on a little bit about the specifics of what that might look like, but I think if you're looking for one giant theme coming out of the Trump administration as to what is the relationship going to look like between China and America going forward, it's going to be very different. And we're not going to let them do things that they have done for the last 15 years that previous administrations have allowed them to do. Matt, I don't know if you want to add to that.
Sure. I mean, Director Mulvaney has a very important point position on these questions. I would say as a conservative activist in America, we view free trade as a very important concept. We think it's increased the prosperity for the American people. And it's everyday people that we're concerned about, the fact that they have the ability to buy goods at a lower price. That being said, we also understand that free trade, they're just contracts. You make a deal with somebody. In some cases, you're making it with multiple partners. That's how we've done it over the course of the last 20 years. But I think there's a preference on behalf of, perhaps the president has talked about this, but other conservatives have said maybe it's a time when we look at having a deal with one country at a time. And I asked several people, we've had so many great dinners and opportunities over the course of the last several days. It's great what happens in this room, but it's even better what happens away from this room, as you all know. As you get to talk to people and meet people, collaborate with people in the region. The one thing I keep asking them is, why are you walking around with red hats that say, "Make America Great Again"? Why are you walking around with hats, many of you that have Donald Trump's name on the hat? People in America might look at that and be confused. And what the answer I keep getting back is really the same, which is, a strong America is good for Japan. You want us to look out for our self-interest, for our country's interest. You know that if we do that right, in a fair way, that's good in this struggle with China, both from a national security standpoint and an economic standpoint. So people are viewing the fact of what President Trump is talking about with his rhetoric of making sure that America is strong in the best sense of the word. It's good for everybody, and I think that's also true when it comes to trade.
武井先生、お願いいたします。
はい、ありがとうございます。大変したともお話を今伺ってきたところなんですが、私も中国に毎年行くんですけれども、中国の担当者の人たちとから話を聞くことと、実際に私がさまざまな国に行って話を聞くことと、やはり大きな違いがあるなと思うことがあるわけですが、その一番の違いというのは、中国自身は、まだまだ自分たちは先進国ではなくて、発展途上国にちょっと、それのちょっと先を行くぐらいのものだと。なぜならば我々はこれだけ人口がいて、まだまだ非常に所得の低い層もたくさんいるんだと。ですから我々からするとですね、非常にこの先進国的な行動をしていることと、なんていうか、中国はうまくその場で立場をですね、使い分けてですね、この貿易に臨んでいるなというふうに思っています。それは彼らの戦略ですから、それ自体を批判しようとは思わないんですが、ですからやはり我々はそういう意味でも TPP って非常に大事だというふうに思って臨んできたところです。私たち自身も、私も農業圏ですから非常に 選挙では厳しい声をいただいたんですが、やはりしかしこの統一したこのルールというものが世界の中にあって、やはりそれにきちんと中国もテーブルに乗せていかないと、やはり彼らはそういう自分たちの論理でものを進めていってしまうということに非常に懸念をしているわけであります。そういう意味でもですね、これからこの、今我々は日米は DAG の交渉を進めていくわけですけれども、ぜひですね、やはりこの TPP について今後改めて検討して臨んでいただくということは必要ではないかというふうに思いますが、ぜひご見解をお伺いしたいと思います。
真面目に局長お願いいたします。
Yes, some history and some perspective. We have not had a chance to talk today about my background and where I'm from. I'm from the southeast part of the United States, very near to Savannah, Georgia, where you are. I'm from South Carolina. And we experienced the last major trade agreement very differently than other people in the rest of the country did. We were predominantly a textile community. There's 75,000 people who live in my county. In 1995, 25,000 of them worked for a single company. 5 years later, that single company employed 0 people. The costs of that particular trade deal, NAFTA, were very, very concentrated in particular areas. That memory exists within the United States, especially within smaller communities, conservative communities. It's a very real and tangible thing. And I think one of the things that TPP suffered from in terms of the public relations and the political impressions of it was that we started talking about TPP in the United States during the very end of the financial crisis, the very end of the recession. And I think people made it easier for people to look at the potential negatives of the TPP visa instead of the benefits of it. I think if the TPP had been brought up or raised in the United States at a different time when things were better, people may have focused more on the positives than on the negatives. Number 2, on the TPP. The president has learned, first, the president's instinct was that he prefers to do bilateral trade agreements. He likes that one-on-one conversation. You and me, we sit down, we talk, we work out a deal. And I think that was reinforced in his early discussions on renegotiating NAFTA last year. And I won't give specifics and give away any state secrets, but I can tell you the president very often will sit down with Mexico and say, okay, I think we can agree on this. This is good for you, this is good for me, let's put this in the agreement. And Canada would come in and say, no, you can't do that. And that was frustrating to the president. So I think it reinforced his preference for bilateral trade agreements. Again, I'll talk a little bit more about our general theories on trade. But I think the TPP suffered from a variety of things that made it a challenge at the time and continue to make it a challenge.
I'd just say quickly, 2 concerns that the conservative communities had, and I want to reiterate, when Director Mulvaney was a member of Congress from South Carolina, he would say he had a perfect voting record, maybe, but he was just, because he was one of the congressmen, and you all understand this, MICK Mulvaney was at the table involved in the process, and when a legislator is doing that, you're really making a real impact. So he wasn't just a conservative voice, he was making a real impact, which we're seeing from him now. So he'd understand this as well, but the conservative community in America, they have to pass the trade deals. All the votes come from the Republican Party and conservatives. Very few Democrats, but even that is going to end. So if Republicans are going to do the deals, it's very hard to have President Obama take the lead, right? And he did President Obama did 2 things. He allowed Google and the major internet companies to come in at the last second and rewrite the title on intellectual property. Conservatives were not going to put up with that, right? Everyone's got to understand that intellectual property is property, and they deserve to be enshrined in every single law that the American people have to live under, right? And the American government espouses. The second thing is, we've talked about this word sovereignty. It's incredibly important to constitutional democracies that they do not have the right to give their sovereignty away, even in little pieces. That is unconstitutional. So if we're involved in these multinational agreements, they have to be consistent with the powers that the American government has to make sure that the American people have the ability to engage in commerce in a way that's consistent with that. If those things can happen, conservatives will continue to support free trade agreements. And someone like Donald Trump, as we just saw with the renamed Mexican-Canadian agreement, if Donald Trump decides that an agreement is actually going to be good for America, that is the #1 reason it will actually pass and become law.
昨日 APEC の関連行事でペンス副大統領はインド太平洋諸国に対して次のように宣言されました。この地域に独裁主義や侵略の居場所はない。アメリカは良い選択肢を提供する。我々はパートナーを借金の海に溺れさせることはない。このペンスドクトリンはインド太平洋諸国に大きな希望を与えたものと思います。アメリカは自由主義国家のチャンピオンとしてこの世界をより良き世界にするためのリーダーシップを発揮していただきたいと思います。それでは続きまして2番目のテーマに移ります。よくさんお願いいたします。
はい、次のテーマは、新産業を創出する知的財産権についてです。社会を変える、先端技術の発展に伴って新産業を創出する知的財産権の重要性がますます大きくなってきています。その中で先進国はどのような貿易立国のビジネスモデルを作っていけばよいのかと議論していきたいと思います。早速ですが牧島先生、現在の日米の規制緩和の違い、そして新産業創出に対するスタンスの違い、また日米の間にある企業熱の違い等についてですねコメントをいただきまして、そしてマルバニー局長やシュラップ議長へのご質問いただければと思います。よろしくお願いいたします。
ありがとうございます。日本でもスタートアップやベンチャーを起こしていきたい、起業をする若者を増やしていきたいという大きな方針はあります。そして国家戦略特区のように大きなイノベーションを挑戦する土台も今安倍政権の中で作っています。それでもなお、ユニコーン企業といったものを日本でたくさん生み出すのは難しい。そうしたことからシリコンバレーにも視察に行き、スタンフォード大学でも話を聞き、私たちもアメリカからの知恵をもらおうとしているところです。その中で気がついたことは、アメリカのベンチャー企業は一つ大きな形や成功の物語が出来上がった時に、それをより大きな国、より大きな会社に売ることもいとわずに、そしてその後また新しいベンチャーの発想で次の挑戦に向かっていく、そういう若者がいるんだと思っています。ただ日本の場合はどうしても大きな会社に自分の技術を売り渡すことを、身売りのように受け止められる傾向が強いので、自分自身である程度のサイズまで大きくなって上場する方がいいのではないかというふうに考えている人が多いように思うんです。そうしたこの日本とアメリカのベンチャー企業の成長のプロセスの違いといったものが、今後日米間で知的財産大きな話題になってきていますけれども、交換する中で一つの課題になってくる可能性もあり、そんな中アメリカから日本はどのようなベンチャーの思いを、マインドを分析されているのかな、そんなことも聞いてみたいと思います。
局長お願いいたします。
A few different things. I can't speak to the cultural impediments that you may face here in terms of the willingness to start a company or sell a company. That's something uniquely Japanese, and I'm not nearly familiar enough to comment on that. But I will say this. Money will find creativity. And if you can find a way to make something, invent something, create something that someone else wants, money will find you. And help you be successful. I will take this opportunity to talk a little bit about what we talked about yesterday and about the things that unite conservatives. And one of the things that unites conservatives is this belief that government should get out of the way of individual sovereignty, to use your word. I'll use a different word today, creativity. And I would encourage Japan, as I encourage my own federal government and my state government in South Carolina, to find the things that the government is doing that discourage people from being creative. How hard is it to start a business? How much paperwork does it involve? Do you have to hire a lawyer? How much does it cost? Do I have to have different insurance? Do I have to have a different place of business? If I have an idea, how easy is it for me to take that idea and make it into reality? Some of the answers to that question will be cultural, and I cannot speak to that, but some of the answers to that question will be governmental. And what we have done, one of the things we've focused on in our deregulatory agenda is to make it easier for people to start their own businesses. And it's working. Many international press will cover the employment rate in the United States, the unemployment rate, how low the unemployment rate is. No one covers one of the most interesting pieces of data that's in that unemployment rate. We all track, all governments track, the number of people who lose their job every single month. Everybody does it. All developed nations do that. The United States does something very interesting. I don't know if it's unique, but I know that we do it. We track the number of people who lose their job because they quit. And not because they got fired, not because they got laid off, but because they chose to quit their job. That number is up over 300% since President Trump took office. What does that tell us? That tells us that people are confident now in the economy, they're confident in their government, and they are confident in themselves, and they're willing to take that risk to move jobs, maybe move cities, maybe even start their own business. This comes in large part from getting the government out of the way of that very human desire to create things. I know that's not exactly your question, but if there was something I would leave you with from a conservative standpoint is, if you're concerned about entrepreneurship, if you're concerned about new business formation, if you're concerned about creativity, find what it is the government is doing that prevent those things from happening.
I would just, follow up what you just said, Director, and see if you agree with this as well. So we're all talking about these conservative values. You were talking about TPP, the need for free trade. One of the things that my country has done, and MICK MULVANEY knows this from his votes and his leadership in the White House, but America took way too many steps, whether it was Dodd-Frank or Sarbanes-Oxley. We actually took Wall Street, we took Chicago, we took our major financial markets, and we made them uncompetitive because of the laws we passed. One of the things that was amazing to me is people will make very quick decisions on money based on what a nation does with their laws. And instead of flying to New York for all these great IPOs and deals, people were flying to London. And for Americans, that was shocking because we always view Western Europe, including the UK, as being more onerous with their regulations. And the fact is that America entered, in the previous administration over those 8 years, we entered into uncharted territory where America was a less friendly place to do business.
We actually tracked a couple of different things, and one of the things we compared ourselves from a regulatory standpoint against other nations in the world. And we found out that the environmental compliance costs in the United States, on average, were higher than in Europe, which I think would surprise many, many people.
That includes France.
France and Germany.
続きまして、武井先生、お時間の都合で短めにお話しいただければと思います。
そうですね、簡単にいたしますが、今ですね、日本でもキャッシュレスを導入しようということで、さまざまな取り組みを今しているんですが、ただ中国なんかに比べて非常に遅れていると言われています。ただ、これはですね、やはり逆に言うと、プライバシーと非常に表裏一体なところがありまして、逆に言うと、国が調べようと思えば誰がどこで誰と会って何を食べたか全部分かるといったようなこともあり得るわけであります。ですからそういう意味で我々この日米非常に先進国としてプライバシーというものも非常に大事にしながら進んでいかなければいけない。一方でそういったようなものよりもですね、利便性というものを追求することができる国というのもまたあるわけでありまして、この辺りの整合性というのをですね、どのようにですね、共に考えていけばいいのかということをご意見をお伺いしたいと思います。
We face the same challenges, and it's not easy, and it doesn't even necessarily pertain just to China, it pertains to everybody. I'm not sure I want my bank to know everything about me, which is what they know now. So the challenges of privacy are real. The challenges of cryptocurrencies, which is something you didn't mention, but something sort of related, are real. They're tremendous opportunities. They're tremendous opportunities. If you can solve the problem of how I can buy something from you using a credit card, but I protect my privacy to the extent I want to. I might want to share some, I might want to keep some. You can solve that problem, you're going to make a lot of money. That's a challenge I think everybody faces. I know I've talked to several members of the Diet, and they specifically referenced the concern about the Chinese role in payments here, in financial payment systems here. Face it, it's not just the Chinese, it's everybody. There could be somebody living by themselves in Senegal who has your information that you don't want them to have. So privacy is going to be a major challenge. Maybe it's a good thing that we can work on together.
Just quickly, the only thing I'll add is that one of the big characteristics that the CPAC in America is so many young people, people in college, people in high school. I have 5 daughters, and 2 of my daughters come every year. And I put them to work for free, by the way, which is legal in America. I make them work very hard. But the key is that on these questions of privacy, our young people are not aware of what they're giving away. They're totally comfortable with having these people track them, these companies track them in every conceivable way. And as a young person, they don't understand that we talk about sovereignty, we talk about the individual, we talk about these themes. You're allowed to live the life you want to live. You're allowed to be the person God made you to be. Don't easily give all that information so that a company can manipulate that. If you want to do that, that's your information. You have a right to rent that out. But be careful, because as a young person, you give something away that as an older person you realize that you maybe wanted to be more modest about how you shared it. And I would say that's a big issue we have generationally with the people that are coming up. And I think this is another example of where some of us who have snow on the roof and are older have to explain to younger people what we have in terms of who we are as an individual.
マレベニ局長、国際貿易の未来に向けての局長のモットーであるイメージを一言ワンフレーズでお願いいたします。
Actually, I think I'm giving the keynote speech on trade in the next section.
So don't give it away.
I'm sorry, I don't mean to be rude, but
I think that the right question is that we talked about creativity. I think you can tell the size of someone's brain and their intellect and their creativity about the sock stations. I really do. I believe it. I think that's all part of it. See, mine are black and they're very
I like the snow on the roof.
ありがとうございます。アメリカが保守政権へと政権交代いたしまして、ペンス副大統領のアメリカは協調を目指し、支配は目指さないという力強い発言は、アメリカの新たな決意を世界に強く印象付けました。専制主義、覇権主義を食い止めるために、大いに尽力なさっておられますトランプ政権と共和党に最大の敬意を表しつつ、本セッションを終了したいと思います。ありがとうございました。どうもご清聴ありがとうございました。
で未来セッション、国家の繁栄と国際貿易の在り方についてを終了とさせていただきます。牧島先生、そして武井先生、深田様、ランジャム様、そしてですね、ミック・マルバニー局長、マット・シュラップ議長、どうもありがとうございました。ありがとうございました。皆様、お聞きくださいました。ありがとうございました。